Whisky is one of Scotland's biggest industries, and it's growing. In 2022, for example, global exports topped £6 billion for the very first time. But this Scottish success story has a darker side, because also on the increase is whisky fraud, sometimes prompted by promotional videos like this one.
Hi, I'm Casey Alexander, Senior Wealth Manager at Vintage Whisky. I've worked in this industry for quite some time, and the thing I absolutely love is that it's still very well preserved, very original, but now it's become glamorous just due to how lucrative the returns are. So do give us a call, either by getting the brochure, by calling the number, and one thing I know for certain is that you'll love being a part of this really fun, amazing market.
Were you tempted? Well, unfortunately for those people who did take the bait, that video and the guy who presented it are completely bogus. 26-year-old Londoner Casey Alexander used that video to scam hundreds of American pensioners out of $13 million. Over the course of 5 years, he convinced his victims that they could make huge returns from the glamorous and lucrative Scotch whisky market. His US-registered company, Vintage Whisky Casks, posed as a broker between the investors and the distilleries in Scotland where the casks were supposed to be held. Distilleries like this one, which I can absolutely guarantee is 100% genuine. Over 150 people invested in Alexander's dodgy drams, seduced by the glossy and apparently high-budget promotional video. But when returns didn't materialize, or when people smelled a rat and tried to get their money back, they were brushed off or simply ignored. Eventually, one investor went to the police, who alerted the FBI, and Alexander's con started to unravel. The US authorities set a trap for him. They found someone who'd been convicted of a completely different fraud and offered him time off his sentence if he agreed to be a would-be investor in one of Alexander's schemes. They also had an informant inside his business. Bizarrely, Alexander didn't even attempt to hide his identity in the promotional video. When agents got a tip-off that he was planning to travel from the UK to the US, their fake investor got in touch and asked to meet. In June 2022, he was arrested and charged with fraud. He's since pleaded guilty and now faces up to 20 years in an American jail and a fine of up to $250,000. It's not yet certain if any of his victims will receive compensation. However, one thing's for sure, Alexander won't be the last con man out there who seeks to exploit Scotland's unique and globally loved whisky for his own unscrupulous ends.